G'day guys, this is Corey. I hope you are well. So the purpose of this video is to talk you through the first phase of a program / package we've got called the Local Legend Marketing Formula. Now the goal of Local Legend is for businesses that serve a specific area. And that could be a whole country or a large area, or it could be a small town or even a suburb. But the goal is to make you or your business the go-to. So somebody in your local area says, wow, I need a mechanic. Who's the person's name that gets thrown up there? I need to find a good cafe. I need to do this. I need to do that. Who do you use for this? Who's your guy for that? Who do you use for that? So we're trying to develop this notion of becoming the go-to, and that's not just personal recommendations. So it's part of it is personal recommendation, as in referrals from other people. Part of it is Google Business Profile. Part of it is also Google generally, and part of it is mentions online. For example, Facebook. The power of local community pages on Facebook is quite epic. I've seen some significant business growth simply by people being shouted out on Facebook or other groups and places. So that's the idea of our Local Legend formula, and we will be talking to our paid community members about this at length. This first phase is free for all, so you guys can get the idea of what this means. The 4 phases more or less are: phase 1 is this phase of the name badge and the places. I'll go through that soon. Phase 2 is more about Google Business Profile and ads. Phase 3 is about website SEO and your website generally. And phase 4 is more about PR, which is quite powerful. But this phase starts out with a basic concept that is so powerful but often ignored, which is what I call a name badge. Now, you'll see over here I've doctored one of my photos on befunky.com, which is a website which is really cool. It's pretty much free to use. And I've got me, and I've got this little name badge up the top. So it's my name, Corey Hind. The main thing that I do, I help businesses get found on Google. And then my bullseye phrase, SEO/marketing. So the idea is that we create a name badge that is super easy for people to remember and share. So you could even delete the bullseye phrase and just have the outcome. So it could be Corey Hind, get found on Google. Now my name gets thrown into lots of Facebook groups when people mention the word Google. Whether it be Google Ads or SEO or Google Business Profile, I've branded my name quite well, and my name gets put out there quite often, regardless of what packages we're offering at that time. So the goal is that you attach what you do to your name. You might want to embed that on a photo like I've done here. Now this, I'm not going to do this, but you could do this, and I recommend for some people that you do this. So you take a photo like this, you doctor it with some words up the top, down the bottom, however you want. I'm not a designer by a long way. You could get a designer to do this for you, and this photo could become your ID photo for, say, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter if you use Twitter, any of those personal avatars that you use. You could decide to use this because every time you comment or post anywhere online, that will be there. But the goal here really is to establish what that name badge is. So there's really 3 parts to it. There's your name, there's your outcome that you provide or the thing that you sell, and then there's that bullseye phrase, which would be the main thing that people search for on Google. So remember that bullseye phrase is the main thing that people would search for on Google that you want to win for. Now, once you've done that, you've got your name badge. You might just use your photo and then change your byline on Facebook and your page and LinkedIn, etc. But the goal is to make it abundantly clear who you are and what you do so that people share your details. John Smith, mechanic. Hey, who do you use for your car? I use John Smith, mechanic. It needs to be that simple. Hey, who do you use for mortgages? I use Mike Anastasiadis. That's who I use. So you want to have name, outcome, and maybe a bullseye phrase. Once you've done that, okay, you've got that name badge established. Now that there is more powerful than you think, because I can tell you now, at least half the people in my Facebook group, and there's almost 2,000 of them now, at least half of them are still don't really know what they do. How many referrals are you missing out on online because people aren't entirely sure what you do? Now, once you've got that nailed down, we need to start spreading yourself around the internet. So let's go through the places. So your Facebook personal profile. Is your name badge clear there? Are you going to leave your normal photo, or are you going to change to this new photo? What are you going to do? I'd say for some people, if you're quite active on Facebook or other places, commenting and adding value and discussing, I'd actually have a go at doing that photo idea and getting in there and using it that way. Your Facebook business page. So if you don't have a Facebook business page, I would recommend that you do. There's advertising reasons to do that. There's the power of that link from Facebook to your website. Make sure it's clear on your Facebook business page who you are personally and what you do. You might even just do one post and say, my name is John Smith, we do this, and then pop your photo there. Because when people search for that category online, that could come up. When people search for you online, that could come up. So make it really clear that that's who you are and that's what you do. Who you are, what you do. That should be abundantly clear in both of those places. Your Facebook personal page, your profile, you might not use it for business, but it doesn't hurt to just pop up a post there and say, hey guys, just so you know, this is what I'm doing in business right now. And let's have, hey, I'm John Smith Mechanic, whatever it might be. Your own Facebook group. Now, you may or may not have your own Facebook group. Facebook groups are pretty powerful places to build business still, more so than business pages primarily. Facebook knows that people like to hang out with like-minded people. So your own Facebook group, is it clear who you are and what you do? I've seen Facebook group owners who don't really make it clear who they are and what they do. And in fact, I've been guilty of that when I started my first Facebook group. Now, the next step is other people's Facebook groups. You have to be careful how you promote yourself in other people's Facebook groups, but simply turning up and commenting on other people's posts in a constructive and helpful way can be very useful. And if you've got a photo like that, people start to go, oh, wow, it's Corey Hind, get found on Google. And then they might click on your profile and reach out. That happens all the time. In fact, I got a new client for our business 36 hours ago, doing exactly that. Somebody asks a question in a Facebook group that I'm in, which is related to SEO, and I commented in a helpful way. She reached out, we got talking, and we signed a deal that day. So other people's Facebook groups are very useful places to be. Do not spam, do not put your links there. Just make it clear who you are and what you do, and then get busy in groups that are advantageous to you. That could be local business groups, that could be worldwide business groups, that could be local community groups. So get in there and just comment. That can be quite useful. Google Business Profile. Is it clear on your Google Business Profile who you personally are and what you do? Again, a simple post to say this is the business owner and have that photo there, and then maybe a link to your LinkedIn profile. That could be useful. Your own website. Make sure that on your website for your business, in the About Us area, About Us page, I'd actually recommend you have a personal photo, because Google seems to be rewarding authenticity more than ever before. So if you can show who you are, and don't worry about that whole, personal security thing. People go, I don't want people to know who I am or where I live. Hey, if they want to track you down, they will. All of your details are on the company website. The company's register in whichever country you're in. People can track you down quite easily, unless you've got a really, really strong reason not to be found. I'd suggest that your About Us page on your website has something like this, a simple about me type of thing. Can you partner with websites who refer business to you and vice versa? Are there businesses that you refer people to and they refer people to you? Are there businesses whose services and products you use? Can you get links from them and say, hey, Corey Hunt, get found on Google, uses this, and vice versa. So think about the businesses you have a good relationship with. I can't solve this one for you right now because everyone's different, every business is different, but think about how you can use other people's websites to talk about yourself and what you do. Likewise, engagement pods. Now, these were quite popular a while ago. They're frowned upon in some regards, but do you have any people who promote you online? One of my first clients, I would jump onto the preeminent Facebook group for that niche, and I would recommend him all the time. People would say, do you have a blah, blah, blah that you recommend? And I would say, yes, I do, this guy. Now, I used his service, but I also worked for his service eventually. But before I worked for his service as a supplier of SEO services, I was recommending him anyway. He got lots of business out of that because people believe other people more than you. So maybe you might partner up with somebody to try it out and say, hey, I'm a mortgage broker, you're a real estate agent, let's partner up and just comment on each other's and recommend each other in Facebook groups around the place. When a person pops up and says, for example, if I'm a mortgage broker and I work with John Smith, who's a real estate agent, often we might partner up, and then when somebody says, hey, I need a real estate agent, I'll pop up and say, hey, here's John Smith, he's a good guy. Simple as that. Just get out there, recommend people, and vice versa, and then your name gets seen, his name gets seen, and it works quite well. LinkedIn personal profile. Make sure you have a LinkedIn personal profile. Make sure it's really, really clear what you say, what you do. Your LinkedIn profile has the byline that follows you around everywhere, but it's also got the photo that follows you around everywhere. So maybe use that photo, use that idea, but certainly with LinkedIn, you've got your line, in your contact info about what you do. So make sure that's clear what service you provide. Because when someone Googles your name, your LinkedIn personal profile comes up usually in spot 1 or 2. So LinkedIn is really highly regarded. It's high domain authority. Google respects LinkedIn a lot. So these two are really, really important. You want to have LinkedIn, your personal profile needs to be clean. It needs to be obvious what you do. And you want to have that name badge idea in there often, because every single time you comment on other people's stuff in your niche, that'll come up as well. Same with LinkedIn company page. I strongly recommend you have a LinkedIn company page. You might only spend an hour setting it up and maybe putting 1 or 2 articles there. You don't have to be there all the time, but Google respects that a lot. Likewise, YouTube. Maybe you should set up a YouTube channel for your company. Goes without saying that all of these places you'll have the backlink to your business. You might also have backlinks to your Google business profile. You might use YouTube to have a link to your Facebook group if you've got one. There's lots of places you can do. You can provide little URLs here and there. With YouTube, it again needs to be on point with your name badge. What are we? Who are we? What do we do? You'll be able to link back to your business page, and maybe just an introductory video about yourself and the history of the business that you put on YouTube, and then pop that on your website so that you get the SEO power of a YouTube video on your website, because obviously YouTube is owned by Google as well, and Google loves to see YouTube being used. The last place is different for every business. It won't be relevant for lots of you, but it will be relevant for some. So niche forums, for example, Reddit, Quora. There's a whole bunch of forums and social sites where people are quite actively talking about a particular niche. It might be cars, it might be a form of exercise, it might be a particular product or idea, it could be crypto, who knows? But there's forums everywhere. If you use a photo like this and you get commenting in these places, it's amazing what can turn up, because your name is there, people can see who you are, what you do. You never know who's going to reach out and find out what you do. Now, once you've set all of this up, you've gone through this process, you've thought about what your name badge could be, feel free to ask me about that. I can probably help you if you need some help. I can help you more if you join our paid community, but if you're not, that's fine. I can give you some basic advice. You've ensured that your business is in all of these places. So feel free to pause this video, write this stuff down, make sure you've got all these going for your business, then make sure that you're prominent there yourself. What do you do next? So the last step in phase 1 of the Local Legend marketing formula is to have a think about which places are going to be most useful for you. So let's say you're in New Zealand and you're a business-to-business supplier like I am. I provide services to other businesses. Half of them are in New Zealand, half are out of New Zealand. I'd get busy on my website. I'd get busy on my LinkedIn personal profile. I would get busy on Facebook groups owned by other people potentially, which is more or less what I do. I'd get busy in those places that I know my customers are. I'd get busy in those places that I know have yielded clients for me before. So that'll be different for everybody. Sometimes you might need to really look at that idea of getting other people to comment and promote you as well with a partnership, that sort of thing. So that's just commenting. That's just commenting. Get in there. What is the place? What is the style there, and participate. Then you want to build your own content. So start building out some articles, advice, pieces of advice, maybe short videos, things that are useful in your niche and help brand you. I can't tell you how important this is, because I've been doing this for years, building content, and whichever niche I've been in at that time, I get recommended a lot simply because I put out a lot of value. Okay, it's important to do a mix of all these things: comment, show expertise, build your own content, and then also the last step of it is to add value to other people's content. So if somebody's popped up a LinkedIn post that's useful, add some helpful tips to that perhaps, or your take on that, or at least thank them. This applied for this reason. Don't just say, yo, that's great. Add some value to it. Okay, so get out there and do it. Get busy, get commenting, get building content, and then over time you'll figure out where your business is best served. What I've seen in New Zealand, for example, is that I've seen phenomenal business growth in this idea here, other people's Facebook groups, if they're relevant and if it's done well, if it's done in a helpful way. I've seen, obviously, YouTube, people doing their own content, but also commenting on other people's content, even Twitter in other countries. So go through the steps. There's a bit of work involved, but this is the first phase of our Local Legend marketing formula. If we want somebody to dominate a local area, we do all of this stuff first, and then we start testing. So we get stuck into it for a month or so and see what's working, what's not. And we might put a line through some things. We might go, oh, look, that's not working so well. Let's put a line through that. That's not working so well. Let's put a line through that. That's a non-event for this business. Let's put a line through that. But then we might find that this is working really well, so we'll double down on that. Or this engagement pod idea might work really well, and we'll double down on that. So over time, the data drives what we do next before we move into phase 2. Well, realistically, we'll do a bit of phase 2 at the same time. So that's the first phase of the Local Legend marketing formula. You can have us do that for you. It's a service we're offering. Or you can join our paid community and we can work with you to do this yourself, which is a really cost-effective way of doing it. Or you can just take this video here, do it yourself, and then you can comment and ask questions later on.